Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's Curaytor live stream, Client Wins and Emerging Strategies. I'm excited to have one of our team members here, Charlie Cassaro. He's a customer success manager with Curaytor. It's not the only hat he's worn here over the last several years. He's a really wonderful young man, a really sharp, thoughtful guy who the value to you on this call is going to be that he's in the trenches. He has lots of one-on-one calls with our clients, which I think is incredibly valuable to understand the way that he has conversations with agents and the takeaways from those conversations. But also, that means he's got this larger, you don't have to do a survey. You don't have to fill out a form to figure out, oh, like, what are the global stats and metrics, things going on. Charlie's got a synthesized amount of data. He's got folks around different markets, folks around different parts of the country and Canada. So I'm really excited just to have a nice chat with him to better understand what it's like to be a customer success manager, a curator, really what it's like to be a real estate agent who has a customer success manager from Curaytor on their side, and to take away some of the things that have been in conversations that he's been having with his clients, with the Curaytor community writ large, what he's seeing and hearing around the real estate industry. So we're going to have a really great conversation for you today. Charlie, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. How are you? How are you this early afternoon?
Oh yeah, thank you so much here, Steve, for having me. We're doing fantastic. We're doing outstanding. Recently, I've been trying to make that the answer almost every single day. There's a lot of challenges, right? We're all facing challenges with the real estate industry, specifically. But there's a lot of great opportunity out there still when we log in every day.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's talk. We'll talk about challenges and we'll talk about successes. We've the word success is like literally at the heart of your job title.
Yes.
We ask you about the job itself, just for the audience, let them know a little bit about who you are. So you're are you a Florida? You're not a Florida native. I know are you a Florida resident? Were you born in
hmm
Florida?
I was not born in Florida, but my parents came over here when I was like 2 years old. So I'm a Floridian. Yeah.
That's about as close as it gets. And a little peeling back the curtain a little bit, your lovely wife Danielle is also on our team here at Curaytor. She was your way into Curaytor. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. I think she's been here about 9 or so years here now. And yeah, there's an opportunity as an entry level ISA role and internal sales associate role. I had no sales experience. I had no marketing experience, but I had heard about the brilliant things that you guys were doing over in the Orlando office at that point in time, and there was some really brilliant people there, like our co-founders, and I really wanted to learn sales and marketing in that office.
Yeah. And so you said you didn't have any sales or marketing experience, and um, I know a lot of the folks that we hired. We hired a lot of young folks, a lot of fairly inexperienced folks, but there must have been something beyond, oh yeah, like I know Danielle. What do you think it was about you that made you the right fit? Because it's not like you were drawn to the brand, and that's I appreciate you saying that. But what do you think folks recognized about you that made you the right fit for joining us?
Yeah, I think I was hungry, still am, right? So I was in that sales sort of entry level sales role, making hundreds of calls a day, trying to find the right fit customers for Curator, and I just made more calls. I just use our systems, better, and in a few months I was our top performing ISA.
Yeah. And I love that because it's the hunger, it's the willingness to do more. But like from my vantage point, I've also the hunger wasn't exclusively about dialing. It was a lot of dialing, but the hunger was also to learn, was to be a
100%.
sponge, to get better based on every call that you were on, like learning from your own experience, but also asking great questions, being an active listener, and really integrating the new thing. So it's not just the hustle hunger, it's also the improvement hunger. And I think it's one of the reasons why to me, it makes so much sense that you would eventually shift and begin working with our long-term clients in a lot of ways, because I think it's that hustle and that willingness to learn and grow and change and adapt that I think you can see that parallel pretty easily between someone at Curaytor who is not actively selling real estate and the personas and the personalities and the traits of our clients, folks who are always learning, folks who are always implementing new things. Would you say that, are there any other facets of that, like mirroring one another between you and our clients now, that really like help you succeed now in your current role?
Yeah, that there's definitely a lot of parallels there. Like we always used to say that we drink our own champagne, or we eat our own dog food, right? We're also learning every single day, and I think I very quickly recognize that that our clients need help. A lot of real estate agents need help, to to bridge some gaps and to get past roadblocks. I'm sure there's a lot of projects for the people listening today that there was something that you kind of struggled with or took an extra 5 minutes on, and now it hasn't been done in 6 years, right? So I just really I just love being that creative problem solver to really help our customers become the hero along their journey here with their marketing and their sales growth.
But I mean that helping them become the hero, like that's one of those like again, it gets kind of meta pretty quickly, but in a very simple sense, I think that most agents know, and if you're watching this and you don't know this, Donald Miller is a really great speaker and thought leader,
Mm-hmm.
and he has a mindset around this that we've always agreed with, which is like your business is all about helping your client. So in the Star Warsian sense, you're not trying to make yourself out to be the Luke Skywalker. You're the Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're helping the hero achieve their goals. You're there as a support, as a lifeline, as a trusted resource, as a mentor, as a guide, as a sage. And so in that respect, what we at Curaytor do similarly, it's one more up, is like, how do we
Mm-hmm.
help our client? Like we're not the Luke Skywalker in this situation. We're
Correct.
so we're trying to Obi-Wan y'all so that you can be a better Obi. So what we're Qui-Gon Jinn. Um, and I didn't think that this was going to turn into a treatise on my dorkiness. I did learn the other day that it's been 20 years since episode 3,
That's
Revenge of.
right.
So I guess it's just on my mind. Obi-Wan, let's talk a little bit about how you help our clients do that. I know, so you have one-on-one calls with our clients, and
Right.
you speak to them in larger settings on our office hours, on our Curaytor basics, lots of training opportunities. I think it's a cool thing that you guys do in our customer success team to meet our clients where they are. So let's talk a little bit about some of your one-on-one calls. Now I know, like you said, sometimes it's drinking your own champagne, sometimes it's eating your own dog food. There are champagne days, and
Yes. Yeah.
there's dog food days. But so overall, and we'll zoom in on both, but like overall, what are the types of subjects that are coming up in your one-on-one calls with clients? Are they bringing you macro? Oh, like like my overall market, let's say the Orlando market or the Raleigh market or the San Diego market. Like how do I speak to that? Are they coming to you about like technical, like, oh, I want to, how do I, like, literally, how do I do this marketing thing? Walk me through some of the conversations that you end up having with our clients as their CSM.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that I love about this role is really understanding our clients' stories, right? Like what firstly, what brought them to real estate? What have they done previously, right? Have they done Google ads? Have they used a CRM? Where are we at today, right? So it's just so exciting because the real estate industry has so many different sort of archetypes, right? You got your solo agents, you have your well supported solo agents, you got your small teams, your large teams, and a lot of different variations. So I just love digging into each individual business. And we first have to understand, okay, well, what things have you tried that have worked? What things didn't work? Why do you think that is? We then look into, some of the metrics. Hey, where are we at today with the database, right? Is our first mission growing that? Or, hey, you're already coming to us with 10,000 contacts. Okay, let's wake, these people that are in there. So, really, our conversations can vary, but it's, really helping me understand what it is you're trying to accomplish in the, first 90 days. Okay, great. Let's, maybe it's just getting all of your leads in one place. Maybe like a lot of agents, there's napkins everywhere, or there's multiple CSV files, right? Like, that might be your first big win. Let's get them all in one place. Let's get you using a central source of truth to
Yeah.
then, be able to do really great marketing campaigns and then create some conversations with these people.
So I really like that's an important perspective to have, this timed mentality. So for me, I don't work as a CSM at Curator, and so I just know that we've had these clients who've been with us for a long, long time,
That's
and I
right.
it. This is the thing that I think a lot of folks end up being guilty of is that we focus on the beginnings of things and we focus on the ends of things. People talk about like in your romantic life in dating, people talk about it like the way that like TV shows. It's like, oh, did you see the new show? And then, oh, how did the finale go? And everything in between, kind of we forget about. Um, but when a client joins Curator, it's really important that we set some clear goals. But it's those questions. It's getting to understand where they are before. It's not one size fits all, especially with a user base that have been early adopters who have been willing to invest in their business and try different things. That can be a
Mm-hmm.
bit of a gift and a curse because you might want to say like, oh, we've got a really great program, we've got some really great services that we could offer you, and they might go, we've done PPC before, and honestly, we wasted a lot of money because all the leads stank. Like, okay, and that's real. That is
Mm-hmm.
both their opinion and their experience. That's what they've gone through. And so even if you feel confident you should work with Jason and his team, we've got some really great people. We've got some different targeting. We don't know. You can't start there. You've got to start with curiosity, asking great questions to understand the context of where they're coming from. But that first 90 days, I'm guessing then you're probably looking at the next 90 or the next 180, and always recognizing that folks are in a different place from when you first meet them or when they first join something to what's going on next. So that goal setting is really important. Um,
Yeah, and there's a big buzzword in the customer success industry, right? So it's one of the fun things here is, yes, I'm a marketing expert, I'm a sales conversion expert, I'm a curator marketing platform expert, but also always trying to get better at the actual, core role of what we do here with customer success. It's change management, right? So I'm a change management expert, the customer success team here, the change management expert. When you sign up for, any new product or service, it's really simple to sign that contract, to go to that gym for your first free trial, right? But we're not going to see the success. We're not going to see the results unless we have a clear, in most cases, long-term plan. So again, that's where we come in. If it takes, hey, where are we at today with your, expertise on pay-per-click ads or sales follow-up, right? Okay, well, let's fill some of these education gaps in. Hey, maybe we can ignore 7 out of these 10 initial items. Let's just focus on these first three things, like getting your email marketing dialed in and the listing promotions. And then we'll focus on everything else and we'll start layering things in. It's a very common thing that we hear, that curators like a fire hose. right? And I would argue you aren't supposed to focus on everything, right? Not all at the same time. So again, that's where we come in, build a customer success plan, and really try to build, those smart, measurable goals. Again, 90 days, 180 days, so on.
Now, help walk me through this because, like we said, like we've got folks at different places in their business, different goals they might be setting. Let's let's kind of just zoom in on the idea of one, like a let's take the generic idea. What's the most commonly someone's joined us. They're a successful agent, but they're looking to grow. First, like what are you most commonly hearing when you're meeting a new client for the first time? Is it are they talking about things in terms of I want more leads? Are they talking about it in terms
Mm-hmm.
of I want more market share? Are they talking about it in terms of I looking to grow my team? Are there what are some of the more common goals that you're hearing? And then we can talk about how you're helping craft the right plan to succeed and achieve those goals.
Yeah, yeah. So, it's always that bottom line of deals, right? Can we get more deals this year? Now, if you're a team leader, right, you're more concerned about, okay, I need more leads coming in. I need better qualified leads coming in because I know if I'm doing the right things and I'm, training the right people and I'm having them make their calls and holding them accountable, that X amount of leads will then lead to, say X amount of deals this quarter, this year. So yeah, it's very oftentimes deals, and that's one of the challenges, right? Because we know that real estate transactions tend to have a longer life cycle, especially if no one's heard of you. If you're in a new market, if you're starting a new business or a new brand, which our customers often do when they launch with us, or maybe they were a solo agent, now they're launching a team, or vice versa, right? So the first sometimes we have to one of our sort of jobs here is to tell customers what they need to hear, not what they want to hear,
Mm.
um, which is takes a courage here, right? It takes building that trusted advisor relationship. But okay, great. So the goal is this amount of deals. Okay, what's it going to take to get there? Because there's a long road before that happens. It can be a very predictable, very successful road. But again, you don't just snap your fingers and more deals come your way. You have to get people to first know who you are. You can't sell a house to someone who doesn't know you exist. People have more options now than they ever have. So it's important when they get into your database, they don't work with anyone else. So yes, sometimes what the customer comes to us with, we have to sort of take a couple steps back. Okay, what's it look like to actually get more deals? Is it more leads coming in? Is it having more conversations? So on.
So, I always try to like I recognize that I'm on the marketing and storytelling side. I'm like, ooh, let's talk about the brand. But I also know that like I probably go there more often. And you mentioned getting more folks in and making sure that they've heard of you. But this is we don't I don't talk to as many members of our team that have that sales background too. So I want to zoom in and talk to you a little bit about that. And I know again talking about your learning that you've learning from Chris Smith conversion code, learning from Phil Jones exactly what to
Mm-hmm.
say. I know you're a big student of the game, and so let's talk
Yes.
about when folks are already in your database, because that is often the case. We do work with, like, there are some clients who show up and they go, yeah, my database isn't huge. I got like 1,000 people, 2,000 people. We work with clients who have many thousands of people in their databases as
Mm-hmm.
well. And so some of it is the numbers game and just recognizing, well, how many of these folks are likely to transact this year? How do you, like, let's say we're doing some lead gen. How are we coaching, or how would you coach on that lead follow up, that sales mentality, in order to maximize that investment you've been making in growing your business? What are some of the things that you would point to as some of those essential strategies that you've got to implement in your sales operation, whether you're a solo agent, a small team, a large team? What are those key things you got to do to maximize that investment?
Yeah, that's a great question because I find one of the gaps in a lot of the customers that I work with is, really treating this like you're a sales team, really treating this business like you're a professional salesperson, like you're a sales manager, right? You can have a lot of fantastic agents, but it's, really comes down to two things here, Steve. The fundamentals done consistently, right?
And walk me through
Yeah, yeah, right, right.
let's
Yeah, so
define the
getting into
fundamentals.
your
Yeah.
CRM, getting into your CRM and prospecting, right? So setting those call blocks up, sticking to them, right? It doesn't have to be like you're your own ISA making hundreds of calls a day, right? But you'd be surprised if you get focused, you block off that 1 hour, like I would call it power hour. You already have your cup of coffee here. You've already gone to the bathroom. You've got your, you've got your list. You've got your script, and how many opportunities can you uncover in that 1 hour? So, and that's something that, might be on your calendar, but are you sticking to that, right? So, nothing new, shiny, flashy there, but you cannot replace the fundamentals, whether it's 2001, 2025, the blocking, the tackling, the getting in your CRM, prospecting these opportunities that your marketing plan is bringing up. So that's really one of the big things. Michael and Jordan still practices his jump shot every day, right? I don't know, Steve, are you into golf at all?
I'm more into basketball than golf, that's
Oh,
for
okay,
sure.
I thought so. Okay, well, I unfortunately haven't, kind of hit with that bug, and I don't know. A lot of
That's
agents are, so it's a
that's
great,
the
great.
aging white man bug.
Yes, I believe so, and something that fascinates me, speaking of the fundamentals, right? I don't, if you know the Scotty Scheffler, world number one right now. If you're into golf at all, you're going to know his name.
I even know
But
Scotty Scheffler for
okay,
sure. Yeah.
before every shot he hits, he makes sure his grip is right.
Yeah.
He looks at the club face and checks his grip. So, and it's not just about making the calls. Okay, every call that you make, are you getting the script right? Are you, saying the right things at the right time? Have you been using that same script for 10 years? Are you trying different things, right? So, it's about getting the most out of those reps. The second key I'll say is optimism. I think if you go into your CRM thinking there's nobody in here, no one's going to answer me, I'm really bad at this, you're not going to see a lot of results, right? If you go in there pumped because you see people that are doing things like they're opening your listings, right? Because you have all these great tools and technology that Curaytor provides, right? You can kind of see what they're doing. You can see, hey, these people haven't really opened anything, but these people have been, and they've been in my database for 6 years. Like just getting really pumped about that, because this is a positive mental attitude game. If you're in sales at all, if you're in this industry at all, just having a positive mental attitude, doing the fundamentals every single day, actually doing the things, actually making those calls is what wins.
So it's even just talking about the using the term script even throughout here, I think is one of those things that I always see as an opportunity, right? Because I think that if you are identifying exclusively sales mindset, it comes back to this like pick up the phone and call, pick up the phone and call. That's that's not the only tool in your toolbox, though. And I'm not saying that the phone should be put away. I'm saying that the way you use the phone, the talking points that you're using on the phone. Well, we could be talking like we talk about sending the text first and then
Mm-hmm.
calling. We could talk about the angle about which you are calling because I think the concept of the cold call, that's the most daunting thing, and that's the one with the worst numbers, right?
Yes.
When you see that the cold call, it's like, yeah, if you get three of those, if you get 3% of people on the phone cold calling, you're doing okay, and the conversion's not going to be much better. And honestly, if you're getting more than 3% of them to pick up the phone, you're probably going to be hearing, "I don't want to talk to you," pretty quickly too. Is that is that
Well,
about right?
well, yeah, Steve, and again, like the alternative is waiting for business to come to you. And in a market like most people are experiencing today, that's not going to cut it if you have your annual goals or if you really have a certain lifestyle that you've come to enjoy, right?
Right.
So, it's worth noting. I think, there's a reason why I haven't gone out on my own and got my real estate license. This looks, I see the very hard work that my clients are doing. In some ways, it's the most extreme, most difficult form of a sales role, right? There's really you're on your own in many facets, right? So it's at the exact same time that it's easy to stand out when you get it right because there's so many, for lack of a better word, poor agents out there. So okay, you found your formula, you found your stride. Now, what are you doing to stand out and create more opportunities? But they're not just going to come your way. We have to be proactive.
Absolutely. That calls to mind something that I was talking with Jerome. Jerome is very data minded. He's a member of our team.
Yeah.
He's been our director of data strategy. He oversees some of our sales operations. Just an incredibly thoughtful, smart guy with great insights. We were talking about this maybe about a month ago. He was saying it's as simple. He's like his framework is you either take share or you make share in this
Mm-hmm.
business. And honestly, like we know the number of people that are going to transact generally. People would always point back to that. Oh my God, like 6.5, 7 million transactions happens. Like, yeah, that was 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Typically it's been closer to 5 to 5.5 million. The last couple of years, it's been a little bit lower. We've been in the high fours. So you're not going to make someone buy or sell their house. So the share that but you can make sure that they think of. So again, with the idea of the fundamentals, the follow up, the tenacity, the hunger, you also it's not just calling to say I don't have a script. It's not calling to say hi, I just wanted to check in with you. Hi, I just wanted to follow up with. No, it's there are different types of leads that you might have generated. There are different types of conversations that you can have. I see this is where the marketing brain comes in for me. It's like, well, what do you have going on that's worth sharing with somebody?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I know, and that's another aspect. Like you don't just do the sales side, you're also part of the marketing, the strategy. Where let's talk a little bit about outreach. I don't say the outreach strategy, but like what's like, content that helps
100%.
create conversations, or I don't say excuse, but reasons to call, reasons to text, reasons to email and start conversations. What have you seen working as conversation starters, conversation continuers, the ways to, even in a slower market, the questions that are on the consumer's mind or the frustrations that are on their mind? What content have you seen our clients creating? Have you seen Curaytor providing for our clients that have been effective in creating those conversations, opening more doors to lead to more business?
Yeah, it's a great question there, Steve, because that's the difference between cold calling, right? That brand new lead follow. They don't know who you are. Now you're calling them, right? Versus this behavior based follow up, right? So, hey, we've sent them things, we've sent them the listings, right? So, to answer your question here, really the first thing to focus on is the listings, right? Like that is your most valuable asset, really,
Mm-hmm.
in this business as a real estate agent. What are you doing to market your listings? But what it's really about is keeping people on your website. Hey, I just listed this great new home, could this be the one for you? And now you have that email database, and now you're sending that out, and now you're seeing who's interacting with that, and that's where that behavior based follow up comes in. So cannot be overstated. Listing promotions, listing promotions, listing promotions. Yes, that includes Facebook. Yes, that includes Instagram. But don't write off. I know a lot of people think that email marketing is dead. It's probably because you're sending to a bad list at the wrong times and you're sending the wrong things. But when you flip that, when you have a partner like Curaytor and you have a little bit of a guidance from someone like myself, like Joe or Rachel, to get the most from these assets and really tie them into your business. Again, that's where great listing marketing comes in.
Absolutely. And listing promotions, but I know that the deal of the week email concept. It doesn't even have to be your own listing. I see
Correct.
some of my favorite marketing that I see great agents creating. I saw there was a house that Vanessa Riley from Domo Realty was
Yep.
marketing on Instagram the other day. It wasn't her listing. I read through the bottom, but and yeah, I read all the way. I don't live in Atlanta, by the way. I was still engaging with that post because I thought there was great storytelling in it. There was great photography, obviously, but it made me think, oh, okay, that's a really nice looking property. The copy told a story. And it wasn't even waiting. I know a lot of folks that might be watching this would say, "Well, I don't have a lot of listings to promote." I've seen Damian Hall do really great work marketing other people's listings. I know Dean Linnell's sending out emails and creating content on his blog that is sometimes featuring his listings, but also features other great listings. That's part of the great agent mentality. You should already be up to date on the market. You should already be up to date on what homes are interesting, what homes are novel, I saw a price reduction on this house over here. If your team or if you are representing buyers as well, you're up to date on what listings are on the market, not just your own. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity to create great content. And that's not just blog and video, that's also reasons to text, reasons to reach out to folks
Correct.
on a one-to-one. I know you we talked no, it was we published this in our blog this past week. And Wendy, if you do me a favor, will you grab the most recent blog post that we published? It's the 3% rule. And this goes perfectly in line with a lot of the stuff that Charlie's talking about here as far as working your database. Um, that there are there are one-to-one strategies to reach out. Sometimes you're saying like emails. That's like, well, is like sending an email blast to 20,000 people, most of whom have been in that database for a long time, and you forgot about that you've kind of not really been sending terribly timely or relevant information. Yeah, that part might be dead. But if you look at email is also a one-to-one tool.
Hmm.
Texting it can be a one-to-one tool, and you can create what seems like a one-to-one and send it 1 to 25, 1 to 50, 1 to 100.
100%.
So yeah, so like I know we've got some concepts around uh the hey, like I just sold a home near yours as a message, like, oh, that's relevant to me. Yo, you there was you know I'm 15 minutes away. I sold a home near yours for higher than I expected. If you'd like to see what your home could sell for, let me know. Or, oh, I just saw, again, you don't have to have sold
Hmm.
it. I just saw XYZ home hit the market in your neighborhood. I just saw XYZ home sold near you. Oh, and if you don't know the exact place where somebody lives at this point, you say, hey, I just collected five recent sales. I've analyzed them, and I think there's some really interesting trends going on with our market. Do you want me to share some of my thoughts with you? Like, is that I'm just kind of workshopping some thoughts there, Charlie. Like, how do you see those opportunities? How would you coach somebody on crafting that type of outreach?
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, let's face it, right? Over the last couple of years, Facebook has made it more difficult to do ads if you're a real estate agent, right? Even the email servers, they're getting a little more picky, right? So we have changed our strategy. We're not just sending the 20,000 people a random message anymore, right? And especially with texting, right? If you're anything like me, you get tons of spam texts on an hourly basis. So, we definitely have to change our approach here as different regulations, change and as market conditions change, right? So one of the big things, Steve, and it might be a simple thing, but a lot of clients, they come in and they want to automate everything, right? And to be fair, there's been a lot of great new, advancements, obviously with AI, um, but don't leave out the human one-to-one because there's so little of that, right? As everyone moves to automation, there is a time and a place, right? And if you have 40,000 leads, and we're trying to, do certain things with those people, yeah, that's great. But I hate getting a text and I know it was sent to 90,000 people because it says, hit the stop if you want to unsubscribe, right? So that's
Please
my
stop.
first little, please.
Please.
Yeah, please. Um, that's my first tip is, there are those cases. I love using the CRM. When I do outreaches to my customers, I go one by one. I might, have that one message. I might change it a little bit. I'm going one to one. I'm spending that extra 30 seconds it takes, right? Because I want a real connection. We can't be automating our relationships. So, again, there's a time and a place, and we have some great good automations that we build here at the Curaytor and that we help you build in your CRMs. It's just not a replacement. Don't ever think that it's a replacement for, firstly being curious about where this customer is at in the real estate journey. And secondly, having empathy so that you can work with them. A lot of the customers that you'll be working with will be on a longer term basis. There's a lot fewer of those quick wins coming up, right? So just do not be automating those relationships, because when someone gets into your database, we have to make sure that they work with you and not anyone else.
Absolutely. So I just at the risk of being redundant, I think anybody who's heard me talk about this stuff, I'm not like anti AI and automation, but I'm definitely much more of the belly to belly, like understanding that we want to bake in efficiencies and automations for a purpose so that you can be more effective in helping more people. If and obviously people have different motivations for why they do things, and not everybody gets into a business just because they love it. Like the American dream of home ownership is absolutely a thing that I've seen in a lot of real estate bios, and I totally believe that you believe in it, because I do. It is the number one source of creating wealth generationally, is simply owning real estate. But I think that the reason the types of agents that we work with, that we like to work with, got into this business, yeah, there is an economic possibility there, and there is the usefulness of being able to craft your own journey through life and your hours and being. But it's really it's everyone's they're such people. They're
Mm-hmm.
there. They love to work with people. And this, again, back to like, you love to understand the goals and what our clients have been through before so that you can help them achieve their goals today and set the right goals to move forward. That's what I see in our clients. That's what I see in the best agents in the business, is folks who genuinely want to help people. And so I get the shiny object, like, ooh, that'll help me do that. But it ends up, it seems like it creeps in and takes over, and it takes away some of the humanity. And so remembering why you're implementing these tools, remembering why you're implementing these strategies and automations, it's so that you can be better at showing up for the people that you have attracted to you, not just so that there can just be more for more's sake. And that's learned that lesson from restaurants that open a few too many, a few too fast. And
Yes.
all of a sudden, the consistency goes down, the quality control. So it's you wanna grow, you wanna maintain your business, and you want to grow it, but not at the risk of lessening your quality and the way that you help people.
Well, yeah, and I think that's what you just said there, like truly helping people. I think, I'm a first-time home buyer. My wife and I have been on this journey much longer than we thought, right? But there's a lot of people like us. We need help. If you're going to get these transactions, you truly have to just really be, helping people. And I'll go back to what I said, about when customers come to us. Yeah, of course, we want deals. Um, you have to get someone firstly in your database, then you have to respond to that outreach, right? So if it's a text or this or that. So I think, there's always this goal as we're prospecting. Oh, let's set the appointment. Oh, let's get this deal, right? But
Yeah.
there's a lot of steps before that. If we slow down, As Phil Jones likes to say, a lot of agents tend to ask someone to marry them on the first date. And like, what's the goal of that outreach you're going for? I would argue, every single outreach should have only one goal, right? Sometimes we're tempted to have two goals. Hey, click this link here to go to my bio, and hey, if you want to, go for a coffee, right? But if we have one goal in mind, and I think, again, just peeling back these layers of fundamentals, like the first goal, if you have a lead that hasn't responded, is to get a response. Then we can push a little bit further. So I think, it sounds really, really simple, but, when it comes to crafting this outreach and thinking about the kind of process that you're doing, what's my goal here? Yes, it's the deal, but first we have to get some signs of life here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The data gets asking for marriage on the first date. Baseball. Think about it. What was what the term is escaping me right now? Not sabermetrics, not analytics. It was the Oakland Athletic Moneyball. There we go. The
Oh, yes, yes.
Moneyball. That stuff. It's like hit singles, hit doubles. It doesn't all have to be home run, home run, home run. The more so, you mentioned going back and trying to chart all of that journey. I know that we work with a really great client in Justine Matthew.
Yeah.
And I just love the way that she's a leader for her team in operations, but she's always such a great advocate for Curaytor, and she implements our strategies so well. They do such lovely marketing, but I know that you've worked with her and her team on improving some of those systems a little bit. And I think that there's like maybe a little case study possibility in there. We talked a little bit about, because I know there was a lead gen aspect, but there was also the lead follow up aspect. Because it's like, yeah, just investing in lead gen without figuring out your follow up strategies. That's one of the surest ways to waste money, and then come back and say, yeah, my database is full, but it's a bunch of bad leads. So it sounded like y'all had a really great conversation and worked through a system that led to it was better marketing, it was better sales, it was better continued follow up, it was better ongoing, and then leading to more opportunities. Can you walk me through a little bit of that process? I think that'll be something really valuable for our audience today.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I love about our community here. I mean, I've had the opportunity of working with her for I want to say 3 or 4 years now, right? And really, learning different members of their team and what they do, and really how her team operates. And yeah, I mean, what's really great about a partner like Justine too is, we recognize not every marketing campaign is going to be a slam and dunk, right? That's one of the great things about doing consistent marketing. So we have been running lots of pay-per-click ad campaigns for Justine and Sotheby's here, Matthew Newton, and over the years, right, we've had some campaigns perform better than others. So when we were challenged with, hey, she has a growing team. Okay, so we need to dial in that cost per lead, right? So we need to, have some different goals with these campaigns as there's changes to their business, right? So we dialed those in. Then we started to add seller leads, right? So she was one of our customers that we were beta testing seller leads with. We, found some things that worked, found some things that didn't work. Now we're in a good rhythm here. She's got, really high quality seller leads coming in at a very slow pace at a, relatively higher cost per lead. And then we also have some, more consistent 1 to 2 leads per day with those buyer leads. More importantly, when we first started to work together, there was a lack of, the sales team really working on the same page, playing from the same sheet of music, making the most out of those opportunities. Fantastic, successful agents, but in a market like this, we have to be digging into that database that this team has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on over the years, right? In terms of pay-per-click ads, Facebook ads, their own relationships, their own spheres and past clients. That takes resources also, right? So it was really exciting how we were starting to see, hey, we're not seeing a lot of progress with these leads. Why is that? Okay, what does your follow-up look like, right? are we logging things? So that's, again, these fundamentals, but applying them in this case to a larger team. I met with her sales team, doing some CRM fundamentals, going through lead scores. Here's what to say, when to say, and here's how we have these common and critical and difficult conversations. We also then, dug back in with Justine and a member of their management team. Okay, how are we getting the most out of our team here? So yeah, I was actually just on a call with them, and there's been ups and downs over the years in their business and their market with their marketing results, right? But at the end of the day, it's the long term. When we zoom that lens out, their campaign's been very successful over the last 6 months, 12 months. But more importantly, they're making the most out of their ad spend because their team is dialed into their, what their internet leads are actually going to their website for.
That's the comprehensive strategy. That's really important. And that you want to make sure that your left hand is talking to your right hand. If you're looking at marketing and sales as two entirely separate divisions, that's
Correct.
probably where you need to start, is making sure that what marketing is doing is informing what your sale, if you have sales outreach going on, is making sure that, well, are they up to date on what marketing is doing? And vice versa, is marketing taking into account the feedback that sales has been providing so that you're creating content or that you're creating messaging that can help inform the outreach, that can create those conversations that might have a slightly higher rate of success for oh, we launched a new lead magnet. Well, like, okay, what what are the follow like what like what's the follow up for that, and working together as a team to understand that.
Yeah, and it goes back to back when I was in management. You can't manage what you're not measuring, right? So again, having that central source of truth, logging everything, but most importantly, like holding your team accountable. Yes, we're all adults here, right? But thinking of your business as a sales organization, not just a bunch of separate agents out there doing their own thing, right? Really building a business. And I talked to a lot of agents that are fantastic agents, said, hey, let's start a team. And there's a lot of skills, there that we need to enhance upon. And we as CSMs are by no means business coaches, right? But we are sales and marketing experts that can help you get the most out of the Curaytor platform. And in a lot of ways, again, going back to change management, right? If you're going to see success, it's tough to do things the same way and expect growth. Okay, with a little bit of help from us, let's get you unstuck and let's get you to that next level by really going back to sales, business, and marketing fundamentals, and really getting the most out of each key player that's on your team.
For sure. Only because I know we're coming up on the hour already, and this is kind of flown by. I wanna shift from these one-to-one conversations that you were having with our clients and talk about how that informs some of your other work that you do here at Curaytor, leading office hours sessions and Curaytor basic sessions, like group trainings and coaching
Mm-hmm.
opportunities. I know, so you and the rest of our CSM team do such a wonderful job every single week on Mondays putting together an office hours session. Sometimes it's spotlighting a new marketing campaign that we want to help them run. Sometimes it's like building out a really great page on their Curaytor website that we can send folks to. Sometimes though, it's just it's more like it's the coaching that you're talking about, like just like the overall operational. I know that you've done like a database cleanup has been one recently. Timely things like kicking off the spring market, making sure that folks are ready for that. Ongoing things like open houses, improving your open house protocols, processes, resources. We talk a little bit about some of your recent office hours trainings. Like basically, like imagine I'm a client on this call and I've missed the last couple of months of office hours. I'm trying to figure out like, oh man, I've missed some really great sessions. Give me kind of the highlights. What are some of the topics that you've seen really take off and have been really valuable for our community?
Yeah, well, to your point, Steve, we do have a customer success team here, and we're all on these individual conversations, and then we do come together. We say, hey, well, what are our clients struggling with? Hey, I've been noticing a common theme, like my customers have a messy database, right? So we then try to think about these again, common, critical, difficult things that are holding our clients back, and try to you know do a one to many approach. And so that's where those office hour comes in. If you're a client of ours, join us on those office hours. Those are those additional things, right? So, like you mentioned, building pages out. So when you sign up with us, of course, we build pages for you, some of these basic pages, but your website's a living, breathing organism, much like your business. This is the kind of format where we bring you, hey, here's a great page that we saw one of our customers do. Let's recreate this page here. So there's a real collaborative, you know, spirit here, right? Like we're not inventing, random activities to go waste your time. We're trying to present ideas, workflows. One recent example, we have a great young smart customer out in Iowa, Steve Stick, and he came up with a couple of great ideas, great use cases for our seller report. So yeah, of course Joe and Rachel and I are coming up with these strategies, but we aren't in the field. So Steve was sharing here recently a different approach where he's not spending a bunch of money on Facebook ad spend. He's taking that money, investing it in video, and he's using that to bring into his seller reports and still getting a lot of great views on them. So these are the kinds of case studies that we bring to life here with these office hours. And yeah, that's Steve Stick here. He punches far above his weight class. Again, he's in a small Iowa market, but he really does a lot with his experience. He does a lot with his budget, and he helps his clients by proactively having conversations with them. So again, he shares his entire strategy with our new Curaytor seller reports in a recent office hour, so we can all then learn from that and really get the most out of this community here. Because that's the thing, right? When you're with Curaytor, we aren't the right fit for everybody, right? We do have a wonderful community of top agents and teams. So if you're anything like me, you've been a part of a lot of Facebook groups and a lot of masterminds that really don't live up to the hype. You won't find that here. So we have great customers like Steve Stick, that's solo agent, and we have great customers like Justine Matthew, and we take all these learnings. What are they doing? What are some of the gaps in our other customers' businesses? And let's bring them to you and package them up in these office hours.
Yeah, I love the, like you said, the collaborative spirit, both like with the CS team itself, y'all coming together and saying like, well, here's what I'm hearing from my clients. Here's what you're hearing from your clients. Oh, there are some recurring themes or some commonalities across like, oh, this is something that we need to develop a strategy to solve. We need to leverage our team who is already figuring these things out, spotlight some really great agents who are already working against that trend or working towards that trend, depending, and surface those successes, build repeatable strategies around those, turn them into campaigns, turn them into to templates that we share with our clients. A really great way that the community aspect really lifts. The rising tide lifts all ships, right? So I love the way that the CS team sets that tone internally within the team itself. It helps the rest of the company. I get to see what's going on in office hours, and so I get to hear about, oh, that must be a thing that they've been hearing about on their one-to-ones, and now we're working on coaching and we're working on content that can speak to that it really does help the overall communication. But then I see the way that it informs and influences and helps our clients execute their next campaigns and execute their next strategies to get over the hump or to make it through a tougher winter market as we're entering the hotter spring to summer. I know that y'all have got different strategies and tactics that you figured out, some from your own ingenuity and some from what you're seeing across our client base. That's really great.
Well, yeah, and I think Steve, we're all trying to do more with the less, right? So whether it's your family budget, or it's the leads in your database or your marketing spend as a whole, right? So over the years, and that's again where we come in. We've in 2016, we were spending thousands of dollars on Curator Home as a value ads, right? Then in
Right.
2019, okay, now we're doing Google pay-per-click ads. So now in today's climate, again, a breath of fresh air where customers like Steve are saying, okay, how can I get more creative with my marketing budget? And oh, by the way, I've got these really easy to use tools that I can use to generate more opportunities, even in a market where I don't have thousands of extra dollars to spend on pay-per-click if I'm a solo agent.
So, and you mentioned that we've got solo agents. You work with some solo agents. You work with some small team leaders. You work with some large team leaders, some independent brokers. Um, is when you're helping them shape their next strategies, when you're understanding their goals, what like do you have different advice that shows up? I mean, obviously, like we talk about the fundamentals. We return to the fundamentals a lot.
Yep.
Um, what what comes next? I guess as we're starting to
Yeah.
wrap up this call, what do you say? All right, now that we've got we've established our benchmarks, you can't manage what you can't measure. Once you've figured that out, what goes into the recipe next? What are some of the things that you're sharing with our clients after those first 90 days, after the first 180 days? Where do you start pointing them to see the most success?
Yeah, it's a great question. To firstly, and again, can't go without saying this. Look at those metrics. Look at those results. Interpret them. Right. Okay. Hey, we're seeing a low email open rate. All right. What does this mean? Then we have to go back to the drawing board here and reiterate. Right. So I think to more directly, to answer your question, it goes back to the marketing flywheel. First, we need to be growing that list. We need to be growing that audience. We need leads coming in. We need to be getting you exposed to more people. Once that baseline is done, then we can move on to building influence with that audience. So that means diving really deep into your email marketing strategy. Okay, hey, we've got this baseline. That means that we like this audience. So we're getting a good response from this. Now let's build on that and try to get some responses out of people. And then that leads us to, of course, hey, that third and final step, which is, of course, having conversations, finding those opportunities. So, depending on where you're at, when you come to us, we're going to get to that part faster or slower. But it's just really about, okay, let's review. And this is what we do on our strategy meetings. Hey, what have we been doing? What's working? What isn't that we can cut out? And then use that budget for that next. So in some cases, if you're a solo agent, you might come to us and, hey, it's a big first step, just getting all your leads in one place. We've launched a great website. All right, now let's start to add in those pay-per-click leads. Once we've gotten everything else dialed in, you want to have that time and energy to really focus on attacking those leads. So it's really just a combination of leads coming in. Do we do that first, or do we do that after? And then, all right, let's reawaken, let's get some engagement from these people. It's just about where you're currently at, what have you done, what comes first, and then what comes after that.
Well, Charlie, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to share your insights, your wisdom, and what you collect from all of our clients. And again, the way that you synthesize it, the way that it informs the way that you coach and train and support our clients is always so rad, man. I'm so grateful to call you a colleague, to see the way that the CSMs always show up for their clients on an individual level, but also on the overall community, the way that it drives thoughtful conversations, creative campaigns. It's a really awesome thing. So I want to say thank you. I know that you've got a busy calendar, so thank you for taking the hour to chat with me about your role, about your work here, about what you're hearing in the market. I think it's super valuable for our clients and for the industry beyond. I'm going to turn it over to you for last thoughts. You got anything you want to share? Any final words of wisdom before we wrap this session up today?
Wow. Thank you, Steve. Well, again, firstly, it's just been a pleasure. It's been an honor, to be fair, working here at this, company. When I first started out, I was nervous about making all those phone calls, right? I was sweating every day. And now, I have the honor and privilege of coaching some of the top teams and agents. And, if I have to leave you guys with one thing, it's just keep doing the work. There's only so many things that we have control over. So those very small amount of things we got to nail, and we got to get more of it right, more of the time. And we have less time. We have less money to waste. So again, that's where having a team of experts on your side, I think, can be very, very helpful. And knowing when to reach out, please reach out to us if you're already working with us. Reach out to Joe, reach out to myself, reach out to Rachel. We are here to help. We love helping, and we love seeing you guys win.
Yep. Like Charlie just said, if you are a client, never hesitate to reach out to your team. You know you've got a really great group of folks on your side. If you're not, but you're interested in learning more about our products, our platforms, like our website, our email tool, or if you want to learn a little bit more about some of our services, SEO, to make sure that you're more visible on the search engines and getting more visibility, content marketing plan both for your website and for social media to again to build your brand and expand your reach. To generate more leads, we offer both buyer and seller PPC campaigns. We also do agency level custom PPC. You get to work hand in hand with our services and marketing teams to build out anything to your heart's desire. So we have lots of different options, plus listing promotion tools and services to make sure that you're maximizing those resources. Perhaps the most important thing that you could possibly have in a real estate business, your listings, and many, many more. If you want to learn more about that, head on over to Curaytor.com, and you can learn more about not just what we do and like the literal nuts and bolts and the actual offering, but there's also a blog that we're updating all of the time. You'll get up-to-date information, relevant, helpful things like the post we mentioned earlier about database optimization and so many more. So thank you for tuning in live today. We will be back next week with Amit Buddha. I'm really excited, one of our Curaytor ambassadors.
Nice.
We're going to talk a little bit about a content creation strategy. Amit, like he's like reverse engineer. He works in Miami. He works with international clients as well as local clients. So he's obviously in a very appealing market. He's figured out a way to create content that attracts the right type of client for him. So he's like reverse engineered the way to get in front of not just everybody, but just the right people. He runs a fairly small team, and they're choosy about who they work with, but they do some really incredible business. So you're going to see some content strategy and some YouTube strategy as well. So look out for information about that. That'll be next Thursday, May 8th. And so we'll see you next time. Charlie, thanks again.